evening and welcome to tonight's Undaunted, bringing into the news on top stories. I am Oyin Okpala. Let's begin. Stories reflect a mix of tragedy, development, community action, and human resilience. We begin in Bamenda, where the shocking discovery of 3 men found dead by the roadside has sparked fresh concern over deteriorating security situation, with residents demanding answers as authorities investigate the circumstances surrounding the killings. The proposed Limbe-Tico Road project has reached a major milestone with the commencement of feasibility studies through the historic Bamenda community. The project is expected to improve regional connectivity, stimulate economic growth, and enhance access to one of the country's most culturally significant coastal areas, while raising important questions about environmental and heritage preservation. In Mamfe, an unconventional approach to tackling drug-related crime has captured public attention after reports emerged that suspected drug dealers have gone into hiding following a traditional incantation carried out as part of a broader community-led anti-drug campaign. This development brings a growing determination of local communities to confront the rising challenge of drug abuse using both cultural traditions and civic engagement. And in a powerful story of hope amidst hardship, a survival of the ongoing Cameroon conflict is seeking public support through a newly launched fundraising campaign aimed at financing critical reconstructive surgery. All this on tonight's news. But first, let's get the prime headlines. Tonight on dead bodies found in Bamenda as 3 men found shot dead on the roadside in Bamenda. Well, tonight on Undaunted, 3 men found shot dead on roadside in Bamenda. Also tonight, visibility studies begin for the Limbe-Tico Road project. Tonight, we take a look at Mamfe traditional incantation as it sent some message to drug dealers in Mamfe. Away from that, tonight we'll get into the southern Cameroon, where a conflict survival is seeking a lifeline as fresh fundraising campaign launches in for reconstructive surgery. On the African scene, Burkina Faso cuts diplomatic ties with France. Paris calls for move hostile. And also EU tightens Schengen visa rules for Somali nationals over readmission dispute. Now let's get the news in full details. bodies of three men were discovered lying on a roadside in the upstation neighborhood of Bamenda on Monday morning in the latest deadly incident to underscore the persistent insecurity in southern Cameroon, I beg your pardon. Residents who came across the bodies alerted others, prompting concern and fear in the area. The victims appear to have been shot, although authorities have not yet released an official statement confirming the exact cause of death or the circumstances surrounding the killings. The identities of the three men have not been made public, and it remains unclear who were responsible for the attack or what may have motivated the killings. No group has claimed responsibility, and investigations are expected to be on the way to determine the sequence of events leading to their deaths. The incident has once again heightened anxiety among residents of Bamenda, a city that has endured years of violence linked to the southern Cameroon's war. The war has frequently been marked by deadly attacks, targeted killings, and the discovery of bodies abandoned in public places, leaving communities living in constant fear. Civilians have continued to bear the brunt of the violence, and many caught between government forces and armed groups. Despite repeated calls for greater protection of the civilians and accountability for abuses, unexplained killings and violent deaths remain a recurring feature of life in the southern Cameroon. Authorities are expected to investigate the latest killings, establish the identities of the victims, determine those responsible, and clarify the circumstances under which the three men lost their lives. All right. Tonight we have our in-house analyst, Barrister Mbeshia, in the house. Barrister Mbeshia, welcome to tonight's Undaunted.
Thank you for having me.
Barrister, you're welcome. And on tonight's Undaunted, we start with the very sad report of, dead bodies found in Bamenda. This is not a new development, as we've seen series of this, but three bodies in one night, highly tragic, and we shouldn't keep mute when this continues to happen. These are fathers, these are people's brothers, these are people's sons, and they can be people's husbands as well. But let's get your point of view, Barrister.
Well, uh, people found shot dead in Bamenda has become the regular thing, either by 6 Queen, Hospital Junction, or anywhere else in Bamenda. That's a routine. And so, what is important in this one is that you see, three men found shot dead were in upstation Bamenda. Upstation is where the administration is. If there's no security in town, it is supposed to be in upstation, where the governor's offices, maybe their residences, the commissioners, and everybody is attracted to that particular spot. And so, why would this insecurity prevail right up there? If it is right up there without anybody being held accountable, then something basically is wrong. You've said that in your analysis, said they were waiting for a government statement. What statement would they make? People are found shot dead. They are not found just dead. It's not a heart attack. They were shot dead. There's no silence bomb. And so if you're shot dead in upstation Bamenda, what else do you expect to not happen in Bamenda? And so this is the town that has fallen into the hands of rogues, accomplices of the government, or government neglect. Why? Because it's Ambazonia. How many people will you find them dead in Itudi, around Itudi, in Yaoundé, or where the governor lives in Douala or any other place? Very few, if any. And so again, this is Ambazonia. This is what we're into. We're being killed for no fault of ours. These are not Ambazonian killing Ambazonians. Whatever is the cause, government is responsible. Because it is their responsibility to bring peace. It is their responsibility to hold criminals accountable by sending them to court. Let them have their day, and if they are guilty, they go to jail. If they are not doing this, they have failed and failed woefully. And what can we do as Ambazonians? We have to fight to get out of it. Because we're not going to live in perpetual insecurity. We're going to survive no matter the circumstances. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister. It's definitely said, and Amazonia needs so much security. All right, moving away from that, the Limbe Tico Road seems to have a visibility studies for the construction of a new road that will be linking the coastal towns to the Limbe and Tico in southern Cameroon. Well, we've gotten reports that the road project has officially begun, marking the first step towards a project expected to improve connectivity and ease traffic congestion and open up one of the region's most isolated community. The studies, which are expected to last at least 5 months, were launched on the 26th of June 2026 at the Limbe City Council Chambers. The ceremony brought together local authorities, technical experts, and other stakeholders, including Limbe City Mayor Paul Ifome Ngali, to kickstart the preliminary phase of the long-awaited infrastructure project. The proposed road will stretch approximately 27 kilometers, linking Limbe to Tico through Bambia and Manowar Bay. Once completed, it is expected to provide an alternative route to the heavily used Tico Mutengene Limbe Highway, which regularly expresses severe traffic congestions, particularly during peak hours. Beyond easing transportation challenges, the project is expected to end the long-standing isolation of Bambia, a historic coastal community in Limbe. Despite its cultural and historical significance, Bambia has remained difficult to access for years due to poor road infrastructure. During the rainy season, the existing route often becomes nearly impassable, limiting the movement of residents, tourists, traders, and essential services. Bambia is home to the UNESCO-listed Bambia Slave Trade Village, one of Cameroon's most important heritage sites, attracting visitors interested in the history of the transatlantic slave trade. The division is also known for its thriving fishing industry and serves as a major source of crayfish supply to Limbe and neighboring communities. For years, local elites and community leaders have criticized what they describe as government neglect of Limbe, arguing that the area's economic and tourism potential has remained largely untapped because of inadequate infrastructure. The commencement of the visibility studies has generated cautious optimism among residents, many of whom see the project as a potential catalyst for economic growth, tourism development, and improved access to social services. However, others remain skeptical, pointing to the slow implementation of the major government infrastructure projects in Limbe. Among the projects frequently cited is the proposed Limbe deep sea port, which has been announced and discussed for decades but has yet to move beyond the planning stage. That history has left many residents waiting to see tangible progress before celebrating their latest road initiative. The question is, if the project proceeds beyond the feasibility stage and into construction, it could significantly transform transportation along southern Cameroon's coast while unlocking the economic and tourism potential of Bambia and surrounding communities. That is only if the project would pass the feasibility study stage. Barrister Mbeshia. Now, it is normal for road projects to go through the study phase, where they test the soil to know the kind of granite and whatever machine they would have to use to know this kind of sand and equipment and all of the tools that they would need for the road project. We know that there are some tests that goes on before a road construction is being done. But a feasibility study of 5 whole months before the road project even commences sends a mixed feeling kind of signal. But I may not be correct, but I would like to get your point of view. Do you think that 5 months is a long time, or it's a time that can be given hoping that the road would be done? What do you think about this?
Well, I think you have to understand how library works. What is a feasibility study? You have just tried to say what it is there, studying the soil, doing all this and that. And so Doing a feasibility study is not digging a road. No. Why are they making a feasibility study of an area that they already know? There's a road that comes all the way from it now, passes through all those areas, gets to Limbe and goes right to Douala. What other feasibility studies do they do there? If that road, in fact, they had the cost to put even a toll gate on that road to Udi now. Therefore, it was a good road. And so, what has happened to the road? They've simply abandoned it. But if the road was still functional, we have to learn to know how these people are. When you hear something called feasibility studies, forget about it. It's a distraction. For example, they are going to pass through Limbe, and according to them, to a deep sea port in Limbe. The feasibility studies for a deep sea port have been going on for the past 40, 50 years. They have not built the port. The feasibility studies for the construction of the Caribbean seaport did not take 6 months. They built the whole port and it is functional right now. So it's a delay tactic. It's not that you're expecting somebody to come tomorrow and give you a contract to go and construct a road from there. No, it's a deceit. You do not need a feasibility study there. If that road were passable, if they needed it, they simply need to enlarge the road. They are making as though they will create another road to fly in the moon and then land on the sun and end up there in Bamenda. No. If they had to construct another road, it would be just adjacent to that. And they're not constructing a road. Anyway, they would have simply been trying to make that road a 4-lane, 6-lane road by enlarging it. Does that need feasibility studies? No. And so again, once you hear feasibility studies, forget about that. I know what feasibility studies mean by their own nature. I come from the BLM. There's a road that is supposed to leave Mamfe, pass through Bakebe to Fontem and Chang. They have been making feasibility studies since 1961. No caterpillar has ever gone there. When the elections were coming last year, they sent a team there, feasibility studies, impact, the street on the road, measure some things on the road, and left. When I was a little child, still very young, in 1958, 1959, we had British surveyors who came to survey the road all the way from Lagos. Till today, there's no road there. So feasibility studies is a way to distract people. Take it at their own risk. They are constructing no road there. They know that they need a road there. And they are not digging a road there to satisfy us. The road going to Eden now, that they have something there, was created to satisfy their needs, to transport their oil from the Sonora to Douala. And once they no longer have need of it because they are building a modern refinery in Kribi. Forget about nonsense they call feasibility studies for another road there. They will not construct one. If they are unable to maintain what they have, how will they construct one? Again, it's a joke. It's meant to deceive Amazonians. If you go across the board, even in the so-called Cameroon, you find right now we're speaking, there's no road from Gounder to Garawa or from Garawa to Marawa. But they are making feasibility studies to construct a railway. When they are unable to maintain the railway line from Yaoundé to Gounder, they are making feasibility studies to construct one up there. Why? To deceive those very people up there in the north that you have no road, we're coming to construct a railway station here. They will never construct one, at least not under the BR regime. These are deceitful criminals. Trust them at your risk. They're deceiving Amazonians, especially with these so-called feasibility studies of the road going down to Bimbia. Is it today they know about Bimbia? No. They have gone there and bought all the land, extracted all the land from the people because they know the value of that place. And so again, let us take this thing with a pinch of salt. They are deceiving us. Let us never believe them at all. Over to you.
All right, barrister. As much as I thought. All right, let's get into drug abuse for the past few um, weeks. You know, there has been a whole lot of fight against drug abuse in the whole of the southern Cameroons, and it's an amazing one and it's highly commendable. Well, this time around, a traditional incantation has been carried out in Mamfe and has forced suspected drug dealers to abandon their activities, marking a new phase of the growing community-led campaign against drug abuse across the southern Cameroons. The ritual led by traditional custodians is said to have created fear among individuals believed to be involved in the sale of illicit drugs, with reports indicating that several dealers have gone into hiding following the exercise. Let's get a glimpse of what it looked like.
guys, we did say, we did do all team of Mamfe. If you not stop us from today, we must go enter you. Anywhere where you go buy, can't say for Mamfe, for small one want to give them. Mako send thunder, scatter them, kill them. If they not stop us from today. Our brothers and our drivers, when they drive Mamfe and go, Mamfe Kupa, Mamfe Boya, Mamfe Bamenda. Mamfe Tuana, you carry parcel. You don't know where to head the inside. You bring up for Mamfe here, you get free. But if you carry parcel, you know say that they have put substance a day inside. You don't stop them. You carry and you bring them. You the cash boy will pick them. Mako enter you and your
Well, the development comes as communities across the southern Cameroons intensify efforts to combat rising substance abuse, particularly amongst young people. In recent weeks, traditional authorities, community groups, administrative officials, and civil society organizations have organized marches, awareness campaigns, and public sensitization activities aimed at discouraging drug consumption and trafficking. Mamfe has emerged as one of the focal points of the anti-drug movement, with local communities increasingly embracing both conventional awareness initiatives and traditional approaches to confront the problem. Similar campaigns have also been reported in other parts of the southern Cameroons, reflecting growing concern over the social and security implications of drug abuse. The latest action shows the determination of local communities to complement ongoing efforts against drug abuse substance as residents seek stronger measures to curb the spread of illicit drugs and protect vulnerable youth from drug abuse. Barrister Mbeshia, since for 2 weeks now, different counties have taken to their communities to talk about drug abuse, do different things to ward off, the suppliers, the takers, the children who abuse it, and everything. But this from Mamfe seems to be a different dimension and taken from a different direction. Do you think that with all of the severe protests and severe marches, severe sensitization projects against drug abuse for the past 1 month, do you think that it is effective or it will be effective? Or is there anything peculiar or spectacular about this from the people of Mamfe?
You ask if it will be effective. I doubt it very seriously. I doubt it before I go to Mamfe. It looks like in the past 2, 3 weeks or 1 month, this drug issue has become an Amazonian issue. Not just in town like Mamfe, in villages. You find people coming to demonstrate. And you ask yourself the questions. Did the drug problem suddenly fall from the moon to affect every single village in Amazonia, left and right, within the past 2 weeks? Why? How can this thing be happening within this short period of time? In every single village, most importantly in the southwest. Can this be a distraction? Is it possible? That every people in the Amazonia, in the villages, just rise up one good morning and they're fighting drugs in their own way? I doubt. I doubt. Because the drugs they are talking about, they are not manufactured there, they are sold there. They buy them from somewhere, they come and sell them there. Drug abuse, if this, is a crime punishable by law. Those people making that thing there, if you bought a jug, a drum of those drugs, and put it side by side with other medications, can they distinguish it by themselves? They would not. Can they distinguish that thing from Fancida or Fensic or whatever thing they take regularly there? They would not be able to distinguish it because they don't have the technical know-how to do it. And so the rightful authorities to fight those drugs are the people equipped with the equipment, equipped with the technical know-how on how to dictate a drug, a forbidden substance. If they are not doing it, something is wrong somewhere. Do those people in Mamfe believe honestly, their honest belief, that chanting those incantations, those village things, that will haunt a drug dealer? It will not. It's just like think you can hunt that you can do it on the street and think that that will prevent thieves or armed robbers. Armed robbery is not what you do with traditional cure. Traditional incantations work in traditional thing. It's not a traditional thing. It's not a cultural thing. And so those cultural emblems displayed in the streets, in the houses, in the name of fighting drugs, it's a lie. You're deceiving yourself. If there are drug dealers there, you know them. You know the sellers. You know the buyers. You know the abusers. They can be brought to justice as simple as good morning. But why are they not being brought to justice? If they are there in Mamfe, you're either hiding them in your rooms because you take benefit of them, or you don't know them, or you reported them somewhere to the authorities and no action has been taken. Either way, that's how they are supposed to be done. Because that thing will not work. Either in Mamfe, in Kumba, or wherever they have been doing this in the past few days, a few weeks, you find these things everywhere in the southwest. It is not repeating itself in the so-called northwest in the same way. So how did the so-called southwest, they call it, become a haven for drugs? In Tico, in Boya, in Mamfe, somewhere on the bush, in some bush villages in Meme. How did it happen? All within the space of 2 weeks. Can we think twice about these things? Yes, if there are drugs, and I think there are drugs there, the appropriate measures should be taken to handle them. If you have your son, your daughter, your child, your husband, your wife doing drugs, you know it. You can stop the child. You can stop your wife. You can stop your husband. You can stop your friend from doing it. Can't do things and say this thing, they do only this thing, Yankwe catch them. It will not, Yankwe catch nobody doing drugs. I saw somewhere where they say if we caught you, we'll give us 10 crates of beer. How would 10 crates of beer solve the drug issue? It will not. Drug issue is a crime. Getting out of drugs is a technique which is trained. People train how to get you out of drugs if you have been already involved. If you're already used to drugs, there's a way to get you out of it. It is not a traditional thing. It's not a physical thing that you catch a child and beat until the child would stop. No. The child was already taking drugs, beat him twice, beat him 3, 4 times, the child will go back to it the next day. There's a way to get them out of drugs. Well defined, well organized in the modern world. Drugs are not cultural things. They have come there from somewhere. People started making the drugs. People in which communities that exist, like the United States, like Britain, like France, they know how to get the drugs. And so if we are copying from those and calling them our colonial masters, we should also copy their own ways of fighting for the drugs. Getting people like I saw somewhere, was it in Mamfe, wherever, beating the children up physically, torturing the girls in the streets, is not going to stop the drugs. That's it goes to what I said in the last segment. Total absence of government. If there was a government in place, they should be able to organize that thing. They should be able to stop it by counseling, by bringing people to justice, bringing criminals to justice. As I said last time, we have talked this before. Those drugs get to those villages. By the time you get to that village, if you are going there yourself today, you will have 10 top points on the road where you pay bribes to gendarmes, to police, to bees. If they are all over policing the roads, how do the drugs go there? Those drugs are not manufactured in Mamfe, in the case of Mamfe. Neither are they manufactured in Tico. And I guess, just guessing, if this is a drug having, Douala that is so near to Tico, for example, has more drugs than Tico. Bafoussam, which is quite near to Mamfe, has more drugs. In fact, if you watch Cameroon news, most of the drugs, the hard ones, marijuana, is grown physically in Bafoussam. I send them currently in heavy bags, tons upon tons of them in vehicles, going to distribute them in Douala with impunity, with all the security in town, with all the checkpoints in the road. Once in a while, they pretend to catch a truck carrying 50 tons of that thing. And so it's a failure of the administration. It's a punishment for Amazonians. What they are doing now, it looks like to me, a staged thing to distract us. It's a distraction. I'm not denying that they are not drugs. If they are drugs, there's a proper way to handle it. I'm sure in Mamfe there's a state council. In Mamfe there's a commissioner of police. In Mamfe there's a gendarme brigade, a gendarme company, and all those things that go with it. They're all there. That's their duty to do it. If they are not doing it, sorry, well, they're missing the point. They should stop the distraction. Our people, you can counsel your children out of drugs, I've said. You can counsel your family, your wife, your husband. They can be counseled out of it. They will stop it. But hanging that thing there and dancing in the street and said, like, we will catch these people, making all these village things, it's a joke. They don't fight drugs in that way. Over to you.
Oh, yes, Barrister. I definitely agree with you. There are therapy sections, rehabilitation homes, and conscious efforts, to help people consciously stay away from drug. It's not a one day thing. So I really agree with you, and I hope that they are listening to know that for people, for young people who abuse drug, who are already addicted to drugs, it's not just by protest. You really need to put them in a regimented environment. Keep them through counseling and through therapy for them to be able to, stay away. And it's over a period of time. Some of them 3, 4, 6 months before they can be able to, walk away from that. So I just hope that what they are doing is okay, but it's not definitely gonna do the job. Like Barrister Mbeshia has said, it's all about noise right now. So I think that all the community leaders who have been trying to do this should get to work and organize a counseling and a therapy center for all drug abusers. All right, away from that. Now, Mbamidian, who is a survivor of Southern Cameroon, is appealing for support as a new fundraising campaign is launched to help her undergo life-changing reconstructive surgery. Midian was just 15 years old when armed men attacked her family home in Batonumba, Manu, during the height of the war. Suffering from illness at the time, she was unable to flee alongside other family members and was brutally attacked, leaving her with severe facial injuries that have permanently altered her life. Well, Midian is now 23 years and continues to live with the physical and emotional consequences of the attack. Her injuries have made it difficult for her to eat, speak, and breathe normally, while the trauma also forced her to abandon the dreams she once had of completing her education and pursuing a professional career. For years, she had relied on the support of Aya Foundation, which has provided assistance following the attack. The organization has now launched a renewed fundraising campaign to raise the money needed for the specialized reconstructive surgeries abroad, offering hope that she can regain essential facial functions and improve her quality of life. Midian's case highlights the lasting human cost of Cameroon's protracted liberation, which has left thousands dead, displaced hundreds of thousands, and inflicted life-altering injuries on countless civilians in southern Cameroon. While many victims of the violence never survived, Midian has spent the past 8 years battling the long-term effects of her injuries and striving to build her life. The foundation says the planned surgeries represents her best opportunity to restore normal breathing, eating, and speech, while helping her recover some of the dignity and independence lost in the attack. The organization is calling on individuals and well wishers to support the campaign and give the young survivor a chance at a better future. Like we would always say, once this war continues, the civilians, the girls, the mothers are definitely going to be at risk. And this is just one of the few cases of people who are suffering. We've also brought people who have lost their limbs, people who are who are crawling at the moment, people who have lost the businesses and are far away from home in different neighboring countries just for survival, just because of this war. But Barrister Mbeshia, let's get to hear your thoughts.
Well, I think if you see what the woman is going through, it's very, very pathetic. And so trying to make a reconstructive surgery is the best survival technique that she has. They require money. If you look at the figures, it might look like a big sum of money. It might look that it's so difficult. Sure, she cannot raise the money herself, but not just being frightened with it. If you see whatever amount of money needed there, all what you need to do is contribute. If it is 100 million, a $5 by each of us, $10 will raise up 5 million, 10 million, 100 million without any big difficulty. And so we must show our generosity to people like this. She's lucky to be alive, and she's lucky to have reliable NGOs like Aya Foundation sponsoring her cause. And so the other thing I can say is that those of us who have the access, who have the ability chip in the little you can, because she needs a live. She's lucky to survive. She's still alive. And so if she has to live in the society, she should look a human being. If her face is so deformed, not due to her own fault, and there's nothing we can do to help her, at least to live a normal human being, like any normal human being, we should do. And we encourage Aya Foundation to go further. She's not alone. I'm sure there are many others somewhere undiscovered. And so, as long as we discover them, we cannot fail to say, this is our mother, this is our sister, this is our brother, this is our uncle. And we expand our generosity to them. Because the war is not going to be won simply on the battlefield. We have to win it through the minds of people. We have to win the souls and the life of our own people. And these are victims of the war that we should not forget to help them if it is possible. And so I would encourage anybody and everybody to do the best. Chip in your little widow's mite. If you don't solve the whole problem, you might have some part of the problem. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Barrister, for coming on the Monday edition of Undaunted. Thank you so much. It's been an explosive night with you, analyzing and dissecting all of the issues that will bring to the front burner. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Right, tomorrow is another time with Barrister. But right after this very short break, we'll come back with the African Report, where Burkina Faso has cut diplomatic ties with France. Now let's get the break. Burkina Faso has officially cut diplomatic ties with France, deepening a years of rift between the West African nation and its former colonial ruler in a move that underscores shifting geopolitical alliances across Sahel. The military-led government in Ouagadougou announced the decision on Thursday, accusing France of undermining Burkina Faso's sovereignty, pursuing neo-colonial ambitions, and interfering in the country's internal affairs. Authorities also alleged that Paris had supported subversive activities and terrorist groups operating within the country, though no evidence was presented to support the claims. France strongly rejected the accusation, describing the decision as hostile and unfounded. In a statement, the French Foreign Ministry expressed regret over the move and said it was reviewing an appropriate response while advising French nationals in Burkina Faso to remain vigilant. The diplomatic split marks the latest chapter in rapidly deteriorating relations since Captain Ibrahim Traoré seized power in a 2022 military coup. Since taking office, the junta has expelled French troops, recalled the French ambassador, and ended several defense and military cooperation agreements with Paris, arguing that the country's security policies should be determined independently. For decades, France played a central role in supporting Burkina Faso's fight against Islamist insurgents linked to the Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. However, widespread frustration over worsening insecurity and growing anti-French sentiment fueled calls for a complete break from Paris. The military government has since sought closer ties with Russia and other non-Western partners as it reshapes the country's foreign policy. Despite the withdrawal of French forces, Burkina Faso continues to face relentless attacks by armed extremist groups, with large parts of the country remaining outside government control. Human rights organizations have also raised concerns over alleged abuses committed by security forces during counter-terrorism operations. Analysts say Burkina Faso's decision reflects a broader realignment across the Sahel, where military governments in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have distanced themselves from France and other Western allies while strengthening regional cooperation and arguing new strategic partnerships. The full implications of the diplomatic rupture remains uncertain, but the move is expected to further strain relations between France and one of its former colonies, signaling yet another shift in the changing balance of power in West Africa. Oh well, away from that, let's get into the globe, where EU tightens Schengen visa rules for Somali nationals over readmission dispute. The European Union has announced stricter visa measures for Somali nationals following a dispute with the Somali government over the return and readmission of citizens staying irregularly in EU member states. Under the new restrictions, Somali applicants will no longer be eligible for multiple entry Schengen visas, limiting them to single entry or more restrictive travel permits. The EU has also extended the standard processing time for visa applications from 15 days to up to 45 days, making it more difficult for Somali citizens to obtain travel authorization. In addition, holders of Somali diplomatic passports will no longer benefit from visa fee waiver or simplified application procedures that are often granted under special arrangements. The measures were adopted by the EU in response to what Brussels describes as insufficient cooperation from Mogadishu in accepting the return of Somali nationals who have been ordered to leave EU countries after their asylum claims were rejected or because they were found to be residing in the bloc without legal authorization. EU officials say the decision is based on provisions in the EU Visa Code, which allows the bloc to adjust visa policies for countries that fail to cooperate on the readmission of their citizens. The mechanism is intended to encourage third countries to meet their obligations under international agreements on migration and repatriation. The new restrictions are expected to affect students, business travelers, tourists and officials seeking to travel from Somalia to the 29-country Schengen area, while potentially increasing administrative burden and waiting times for applicants. The Somali government has not yet issued a comprehensive public response to the EU's decision. However, the move is likely to add strain to relations between Brussels and Mogadishu, which have long cooperated on development, humanitarian assistance, and security, particularly in efforts to combat terrorism and support state building. Migration remains one of the most sensitive issues in EU foreign policy, with Brussels increasingly linking visa facilitation and broader cooperation with third countries' willingness to accept the return of nationals who are not entitled to remain in Europe. The latest measures against Somalia underscores the EU growing use of visa policy as a diplomatic tool to encourage greater cooperation on migration management. Now, that's it for tonight's Undaunted. But before we go, let's take a look at the report that made it to tonight's headlines. Tonight on Undaunted, 3 men found dead on the roadside in Bamenda. Also tonight, there has been a visibility studies set to begin between Limbe to Tico Road project. Tonight, we went to Mamfe, where traditional Incantation sends drug dealers in Mamfe into hiding. And also, Cameroon's conflict survival seeks Lifeline as fresh fundraising campaign launches for reconstructive surgery. On the African scene, we told you that Burkina Faso has cut diplomatic ties with France, while on the global scene, EU has tightened Schengen visa rules for Somali nationals over readmission disputes. And that's it for tonight's Undaunted. On behalf of our in-house analyst, Barrister Mbeshia, and the team of technicians behind tonight's production, it's good night and God bless.